storm watch coverage continues right across the country, where we have snow to talk about for the west to round out the weekend. But the snow story right now in Ontario, where of course we have been dealing with snow to end off the work week. Let's take a look at our temperatures this afternoon, though. 7 in Vancouver with sunshine, 6 in Calgary, -8 in Winnipeg, 5 in Toronto with a cool rain, and Halifax 9 seeing the rain. There's quite a bit of it coming your way in Atlantic Canada. More on that in a moment, but let's take a look here. This warm front, we are seeing this easterly wind move along. It's going to be quite gusty as we head in through the overnight. We could see those gusts on shorelines getting to that 80-kilometer-per-hour mark, even above. And today it is system snow, so to the north 15 to 20 centimeters. Areas just around the Huron shores, we could see those 5 to 15 centimeters, and even in through places like London, a couple centimeters for you. On the backside, this cold northwesterly wind over the lakes, well, that's going to start generating that lake effect snow machine. So you can see here that the GTA fairly spared. However, you can expect some wet flurries as we head into Sunday. And of course, wind warnings along Lake Erie now have also developed. Here's a look through Sunday, your snowfall forecast. Look at that to the north. We are in that 15 to 25 centimeters. So bust out the shovels yet again. As we take a look into Atlantic Canada, we are going to be dealing with special weather statements. And that is really for this. We have a low pressure system funneling in plumes of tropical moisture. That could mean Halifax, 40 to 50 millimeters of rain through your Sunday, and even more falling as we head into Monday. More details on your storm watch coverage coming up. That's for sure. Across the country, we'll be covering some of the snowfall moving into the west to wrap up the weekend. But the big snow story, of course, centered over Ontario. As we look at the warnings and watches, well, we have snowfall warnings in place along the Huron, Georgian Bay shorelines right up to the north for 10 to 20 centimeters as possible. And then special weather statements because we have system snow today, but the lake effect snow machine is really going to be ramping up through the day tomorrow. So we know with those squalls on Huron, Georgian Bay, we can get some very high accumulations. If you're traveling within the GTA itself, really wet flakes is what you can expect through the day tomorrow. And for the day today, a cool rain. Here's what's happening. We have the system snow, but as this low pressure shifts to the east, well, we get that northwesterly wind flow influence. It's going to be quite gusty at times as well. But with that cooler air and that fetch across the lake, warmer waters, that's why we have this lake effect snow that will be in effect. Meanwhile, in Atlantic Canada, fairly calm today, just some scattered showers. These special weather statements really indicating your next system. This plume of tropical moisture will just keep funneling over you for your Sunday into Monday. We're going to be keeping a watch because rainfall warnings won't be surprising if they are issued. And again, on the backside of this low, that Arctic air sneaks in. So New Brunswick, into Monday, it looks like you could be on tap for that transition into snowfall. Do want to mention in northern Alberta, we have wind warnings today, gusts over 90 kilometers per hour. We'll break down your snow story coming up, but right now a look ahead. Coming up is the Long Ranger. This is our system snow. So we have two snowfall events. One of our big stories we will be touching on as well, the Western Canada snow story and some bands of heavy rain moving into the Maritimes this weekend. 7 for Vancouver this afternoon, -8 in Winnipeg, cold rain in Toronto at 5, and some scattered showers in Halifax, 9 degrees. Let's start it off looking at this low pressure system bringing in through central and northern portions of Ontario, 10-20 centimeters on tap. Heavy bands as well just east of Lake Huron and north of London. But watch what happens as this low shifts to our east through Sunday. We get this northwesterly wind flow over Huron, Georgian Bay. That fetch across the warmer waters means lake effect snow becomes the story. We already have special weather statements and snowfall warnings in place by Environment Canada. Want to point out this wind warning. Northern shores of Lake Erie, gusts overnight could get 90, 100 kilometers per hour. And if you're traveling on Ontario on some of these major routes, you just want to be aware to leave lots of time, space, winter tires if they're not on, a good idea, because in these darker blues, we are talking that 15 to 25 centimeters. For the GTA itself, going to be mainly a wet flurry event. Atlantic Canada, you can see you're peppered here in the special weather statement. Well, that is because of this low arriving on Sunday will bring surges of tropical moisture your way. Very heavy rain. Halifax could see 40 to 50 millimeters on Sunday with an additional up to 30 as we progress through your Monday. And on the backside, New Brunswick, get ready. You may need the snow shovels. More details in your local forecast now. Ontario. What's that up there? And 1 million trees. This is News in a Minute. Wintry weather set to hit southern Ontario. Parts north of the 401 in Ontario may see 5 to 10 centimeters of snowfall, while North Bay and Sudbury will be shoveling 20 plus. The Niagara region is looking at 100 km/h winds, and gusts of 80 km/h can be felt on the shores of Lake Huron and Georgian Bay. People in Kentucky hear a loud boom. And NASA confirms it was caused by a meteor, which created a sonic boom. It's reported that people across Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana witnessed the fireball Thursday night. One resident in Indiana claimed it even rattled their home. And planting the 1 millionth tree. Current and former mayors of New York City came together to celebrate the completion of the city's Million Trees NYC initiative. Michael Bloomberg launched the program when he was New York's mayor in 2007, and it has been completed 2 years ahead of schedule. Yeah, the shovels, the snow brushers, they are getting a workout. We'll be talking about where in the West is going to be getting a workout as we head into the latter portion of the weekend. But the big focus is, of course, this Ontario snowfall. Environment Canada has issued snowfall warnings. You can see along Huron, Georgian Bay shorelines up to the north. Could see that 10 to 20 centimeters. System snow today, but we'll see that lake effect snow machine ramping up through the day tomorrow. And strong gusty winds on the north shore of Lake Erie overnight. We could see those gusts getting to 100 km/h. Let's take a closer look, though, into the GTA for what you can expect if you are traveling. Really just some wet flurries into Sunday with those lake effect streamers as we head in through the day tomorrow. It's just going to really depend on how far those lake effect streamers make it. But certainly on those Huron shores, we are going to be seeing some of those heavier bands. So travels could certainly be impacted. Here's a look at the system today. That's why we have the cool rains. You can see that mixing line right around that London area. And then what happens in behind is the northwesterly wind transition. That is why we are seeing that lake effect potential. And Chris St. Clair is going to be breaking that down for you coming up. For Atlantic Canada, blanketed in special weather statements. Fairly calm today, but we have plumes of tropical moisture moving in by your Sunday afternoon. And we could be looking at Halifax seeing 30 to 50 millimeters. Your details in your backyard right now. Well, the images and force of nature, a fine reminder we're into the heart of November. Krissy Vann along with you in Ontario today. One of our top stories, system snow today, lake effect snow machine ramping up tomorrow, and we want you to be the eyes. Thank you so much to Tony Anishin here, one of our regular contributors at the Weather Network from Windsor, Ontario. Yes, that is the snow sticking to the ground. So what have you had to say about it? Well, Janet Grace actually is from Texas, and she said Texas is getting snow and it's still fall weather in Ontario. I suppose this is the redemption. We have had some beautiful double-digit temperatures, but that is all changing. Irene says, me, look, it's snowing. Sit and experience the first magical wonder of the season with me. Her 12-year-old wasn't really into it and rather watched television. As for some of the images we're seeing in Amherstburg, you can see postcard perfect. I myself am not a big fan of snow, but when it's not on the roadways, I can certainly deal with it. And then snow day coming out of southern Ontario here on the golf course. Coming up, we'll have more details on how much snow you can expect. Storm hunters' heartache and hope beginning in 30 seconds, but let's take a look across the country where we have a couple big stories. Snow moving into Ontario. We'll tell you who sees how much. For Atlantic Canada, we'll be talking about a system that will bring plumes of tropical moisture and what this low in the Yukon will bring to Western Canada as we head into the latter half of the weekend as well as early next week. 7 in Vancouver this afternoon, 4 in Calgary with sunshine, -8 in Winnipeg, and 10 in Halifax with rain. Right now, we begin with storm hunters.